Our education delivery system in America is antiquated, and it is quite frankly embarrassing.
That's Betsy DeVos, our Secretary of Education. Born to a billionaire industrialist, the conservative Christian activist hails from the 88th richest family in America.
I'm not only a Republican, even worse, I'm a well-off Republican.
DeVos positioned herself in politics early on. She was elected as student senate at Calvin College, a reformed church school. She volunteered for Gerald Ford's 1976 re-election campaign and attended the Republican National Convention in Kansas City. And shortly after, she met her husband, Dick DeVos, son of billionaire Richard DeVos, who was the co-founder of the multi-level marketing scheme Amway. Meanwhile, DeVos was working her way up the Republican ladder, first as county GOP chair, then as one of Michigan's delegates to the Republican National Convention. DeVos became a constant in conservative politics in Michigan, serving 4 terms as state GOP chair. She worked closely with the second Bush administration and raised more than $150,000 for the campaign. The DeVos family has donated more than $200 million to a number of right-wing and Christian causes. Her brother, Erik Prince, has his own ties to big money. He formed Blackwater, a military contracting service, whose employees opened fire on unarmed Iraqi civilians in 2007, killing 17 and injuring 20 in a crowded square in Baghdad. The company rebranded itself several times after the incident tainted their image. Oh, and he's quite the Trump supporter as well.
It doesn't get any easier than that.
Absolutely not.
During the 2016 campaign cycle, DeVos donated millions to several Republican presidential candidates. First, Jeb Bush and Carly Fiorina, and then Marco Rubio, but not Donald Trump, who she'd be working for just months later. It was clear she was laying the groundwork for something with her donations to conservative causes. In a 1997 op-ed, DeVos admitted, "I have decided to stop taking offense at the suggestion that we are buying influence. Now I simply concede the point. They are right. We expect a return on our investment." 20 years later, Senator Bernie Sanders put her on the spot about this exact concept.
Do you think if you were not a multi-billionaire, if your family has not made hundreds of millions of dollars of contributions to the Republican Party, that you would be sitting here today?
By the end of 2016, that investment finally paid off. Even though DeVos had previously said Trump was an interloper and did not represent the Republican Party, she jumped at the opportunity to work for him as Secretary of Education. Neither DeVos nor any of her 4 children attended public school, and it showed. During her Senate confirmation hearings, DeVos seemed to lack the fundamentals of basic education terminology.
Well, I was just asking to clarify then.
Well, this is a subject that has been debated in the education community for years. But it surprises me that you don't know this issue.
Despite numerous slip-ups, evasive answers, and a letter from some of her fellow college classmates that urged the Senate not to confirm her, DeVos locked the position in after Vice President Mike Pence cast an unprecedented tie-breaking vote.
The Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
President.
Even though she had donated more than $800,000 to the senators who were voting on her confirmation, she still almost lost. While her position in the cabinet marks her first full-time job in the education system, DeVos was a controversial figure in the education sector long before her nomination. She is a leading voice for school choice through student vouchers, which gives families public taxpayer dollars to send their kids to private and parochial schools, often which violate the constitutional principle of separation of church and state.
The reality is that when you give parents choices, they make good choices on behalf of their kids. In every other area of our society, choices work.
Ultimately, DeVos wants to shift public funding away from public schools. And as Secretary of Education, she's doing just that.
I don't support discrimination in any form.
Does your program ban such discrimination? Yes or no?
What program are you talking about?
Your charter school and your private school grant program.
As I said before, and let me say it again, schools that receive federal funds need to follow federal law, period.